Horror is one movie genre that has always managed to keep up with the times. In a world where new media and technology are so prevalent and allow us to obtain new facts faster than ever, scary movies manage to adapt and find new ways to instill fear. If we take a look back, you will be able to see not only how the genre has evolved, but also how it has managed to stay so relevant. Starting with the 1897 silent French film Manor of the Devil or The Haunted Castle, this is said to be the one that kicked everything off for horror. The film tells the story of a brief encounter between the devil and other various lurky characters. Once sound was introduced, the experience began to take on a different persona. These tales had a creepy soundtrack and loud noise that made for some big scares at the time. Now that movies gained a voice on screen, it was time for them to gain one by creating new stories to tell. A new wave of monsters was on its way in, and audiences were also about to witness new styles of horror as well. In 1942, we were introduced to the first psychological horror. Cat People brought new techniques that played tricks on people's minds that made it scary, including the Luton bus, which is still used in film today. The genre then began to turn more towards science fiction. Monsters were now created in labs, and invaders from other planets were creeping. In the 60s, we were introduced to the thriller. Ordinary people have replaced or took on the role of the monster in the movie. However,
Stop!
It wasn't until the 70s when people really started getting the shit scared out of them. Starting with the extremely low-budgeted Texas Chainsaw Massacre in 1974, there was nowhere for people to run, literally. Others would take note and help the slasher be born. Computers and other new technology were beginning to make their way to the big screen and played more prominent roles. It was a chance to modernize the film for audiences to better relate to. None, though, would ever do what one film in 1999 did. The Blair Witch Project is responsible for bringing the found footage phenomena into film. As revolutionary as this terrifying tale was, it borrowed its inspiration from the Italian Mondo genre, specifically Cannibal Holocaust, a found footage movie about a documentary crew that is eaten by an indigenous tribe.
I can't understand the reason for such cruelty.
Not only was Blair Witch different, but it was also one of the first movies to gain a big online presence because of how authentic it felt. Now Hollywood had a new feature to incorporate into its plots: the internet.
What the fuck is the internet?
The internet is a communications tool used the world over where people can come together to bitch about movies and share pornography with one another.
Movies of computer stalkers and deaths involving technology made the possibility of a killer being unstoppable even scarier. It created a fear that anyone could terrorize you anonymously. This realization also added fears that affected people on a personal level. Today, films have managed to incorporate technology into plots, and it has made for some and some not so realistic scares. Hollywood has been able to take the devices that comfort and help us in our everyday lives and turn them against us. That thought intrigues people regardless if they may not like a movie or not. It's for this reason, even outside of horror, directors are starting to incorporate this more into films. Paranormal Activity is a great example of how new media can benefit a movie. Filmed in only 10 days back in 2007, the original Paranormal Activity was budgeted at only $15,000. It would go on to gross almost $1 billion worldwide. The studio launched a campaign with the eventful feature developed by a San Diego company known for promoting concerts. With its internet feature called Demand It, Paramount asked users to help determine the film's fate and see if it was worthy of a potential wide release in additional markets. After 1 million fans demanded to see it, the film was expanded to 160 screens and grossed $7.9 million in box office revenue. It went on to become a surprise box office hit, due in part to the studio taking advantage of social networking and the internet.
But wait! There's more! Hang on to your seat, baby! Cause this one's a screamer!
To date, it has almost a 700,000% return on its investment. So whether it's the big scares or the silent fear, Horror has managed to terrorize us for as long as we've known. And just as we grow with time, these films grow with us and keep adapting to our everyday lives. It's for this reason not only have they stayed relevant, but they still give us goosebumps.
Game over.